Welcome to WebStylePress. How do you write your custom JavaScript code? Are there any rules or pattern to follow? Let's say you are writing simple vanilla JavaScript code, or you are working with jQuery. Of course, complex JavaScript libraries and frameworks have their own set of rules. But for vanilla JavaScript or jQuery, and in case of writing your custom JavaScript file, it's kind of seems like freedom. You can begin and end anywhere and type any piece of code or function in any way, method, or you can type it anywhere. But it's good to set rules and have a pattern. A pattern will help you write clean code. It will help you understand and manage your code later on. And other developers in team will also be able to understand and use that code. So how will you write it? We have this example. Will you throw all of the code like this? Some of it will not even work because that will need firing after DOM is loaded, and this code does not include the check whether DOM is loaded or not. And what about window loaded check and window resized check? So this pattern may not work properly. That brings us to our second example. We have document.ready that is DOM loaded and window resized checks here. This is our file, and we have got document.ready check here that ends here, and we have got window on resized check here. This is window resize, event listener, and this is document.ready check. But will you duplicate your code in both these checks in case you need that in both scenarios? I have this screen check, this functionality right here. But I have the same functionality here as well. So will you duplicate it if you need it in window on resize and inside document.ready? Duplication is not good in coding. It is not a good practice. So what will you do? That brings us to our next example, and in it we have to find what types of events are there when a document is being loaded in the web browser. There are DOM loaded, resize, scroll, and window load. These are kind of our checkpoints that we can use to our advantage and use code inside these depending on when we want our particular code to be executed. Always use these checks. In case of jQuery, use document.ready and window on resize and window scroll and window load. Then you can use your code inside these. So if you want any code to be executed in document.ready, you can write it here. And if you want something to be available on window resize, when window is being resized, you can use it here. Similar for window.scroll and window on load. So what we will do, we will use these 4 event listeners, and we will not throw our code inside these, but we will create functions for each functionality. Let's say this is a functionality and this is a function, and inside it there will be some kind of functionality, a particular functionality. And now you can use this function here. And if you want to use it inside window on resize, you can use it here as well. Now this is clean. You don't have to write all the code and duplicate it. You can just call it by calling its function. Similarly, keep each functionality in a single function and use that function anywhere you want. And if something is there that you need to fire after window loaded, you can use that code here and then you can call this function in window on load. Simple as that. So we will use functions to write our code. Each piece of code or functionality will be in a single function, so that we can use that function in any of those pointers on need or demand. And for vanilla.js, we have got DOM content loaded and window.load event listener. We will add event listener in this manner. We will add event listeners for DOM content loaded and window load and use functions to call code when these events are being triggered. So these are the events, and inside these events there are functions. DOM loaded for this event listener and a window loaded on this event listener. This is equivalent to document.ready in jQuery. And this is equivalent to window.load in jQuery. So now we have got these functions. You can create these functions here and code that need to be executed when document is ready. You can use that code here. And for window.load, you can use that code here, but not the code as is. Preferably you will create more functions here, and each function will hold a single functionality, and you will call these functions inside this thing and this thing. This is a small example I have for what I do. I use event listeners at the top, and then I keep my functionalities in separate functions, and then I call my functions inside those event listeners depending on need. See, this is document.ready again, this is window on resize again, and this is window on scroll, window on load, and this is my function screen check. This is checking the screen if it is smaller or equal to 10, 24 or not, and then it adds or removes classes. Certain classes is dash mobile and not mobile classes are being added or removed depending on this check. So this is my function, that is screen check, and I have called this function here and here inside document.ready and inside window on resize. So this is clean. Now this is a function I can call it multiple times and in multiple areas. So I have more functions that I can use with these event listeners. So this function is being used in two locations. And this is more complex example with more functions that are being called in multiple scenarios. See, I have created all these functions, and each function holds a single functionality. Even I have used all carousel inside a function so that I can call it on demand depending on my need. These functions, all of these functions are being called here. My document.ready only contains functions, function calls. In this way, your code will be clean and you will have more flexibility. So this is the pattern that I use. Similarly, screen check is being used here, and this is the function. So create functions and use single functionality inside a function and call these functions inside these. So how do you write your custom JavaScript file? What method or pattern do you follow or use? What rules do you follow? I want to know. Let me know in comments. So I hope you liked the video. Give it a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next tutorial.